Here we go again. Anything is possible. And the crowd absolutely love it. This is why we love Formula One.
Hello everybody and welcome to your post-sprint show here in Brazil as we celebrate Lando Norris winning from pole. First time it's ever been done here in the sprint race at Interlagos, extending his championship lead to 9 points over Oscar Piastri, who did not see the finish after a mistake in turn 3. Saw that McLaren in the barriers and out of the race. One of several drivers to have incidents here in the sprint. We're down here in the paddock. I'm joined alongside by Alice Powell and now joined by Formula One World Champion Jacques Villeneuve. And guys, we'll get to Lando, we'll get to the win, but right off the bat, we just want to address Gabriel Bortoletto's accident right at the end there. We have heard that he is okay, but what a scary incident there into turn 1.
It was big and unexpected, and it's not clear, was he really wanting to go for a move, or was he surprised by the car in front of him braking? He also had his wheels maybe a little bit on the white line. A lot of things surprised him, so I think he did not expect that.
Yeah, Alice, I mean, just talk us through what you see.
Yeah, I do notice that there's a splash of water on the onboard camera there, and we talked about that's when the incident earlier on with Piastri, but I think it's just a braking on that white line, lock of rears, and yeah, like you said, Jack, maybe a little bit put off by the car braking slightly earlier in front.
And we're joined now fresh from the commentary booth, Julian Palmer. You called this as it happened. What did you see? You saw a bunch of replays of this.
Yeah, you know what we didn't see is them swapping places a few laps before. So this had been going on for a while. It's a massive crash. We're sitting up in the grandstands in the commentary box, and for lap after lap, we could just hear everyone screaming, and you're like, what's happening? And I was looking down and just seeing Bortoletto and Albon swapping places. I think he's going for the move. He's trying to catch Albon late, DRS open, and as he's doing that with the DRS, with the obviously the steering movement, and he's coming across the wet part of the track, he then hits the brakes, and it's just so much going on in the car that it's just overstepped the grip of the tyre.
And due to the amount of damage to that car, you got to assume that he's not going to be able to make qualifying.
I can't imagine the mechanics repairing that car. Probably the tub is done as well, so new tub, new work, so what does it mean, starting from the pit lane tomorrow?
I mean, you could see even the steering column was broken, the wheel was moving up and down. I mean, that was a catastrophic hit.
You're nearly 200 miles per hour there. It's the end of a massive run up the hill in a slipstream with the DRS in the damp, not slowing down at all once I mean, maybe a little bit off the inside wall, but it's destroyed.
Yeah, I mean, tough break for the young Brazilian if he is not able to make it out to qualify for his first ever home Grand Prix, but we'll find that out a little bit later. Alex Albon unluckily caught the front wing of Bortoletto's crash. That dropped him down to 17th. Luckily wasn't collected, though, as that car was spinning out of control. Speaking of spinning out of control, we had a very exciting, we should say, very interesting turn 3 on lap 6 when 3 separate drivers got water on their tires from the white line, ended up in the barrier. Let's take a look at some of the replays here, starting, of course, with the McLaren of Oscar Piastri running in 3rd place. And Alice, you see that puff of water, and it's just game over from there, isn't it?
It's so fine margins, and that we said it was going to be a defining weekend. That could be the defining moment. And I think that water that's kicked up from Lando Norris has spread across the curbs even more. And then, yeah, once one went in, they were just pushing the limits, exploring the limits, maybe just a bit too far.
Colapinto goes in a bit sideways, and then 3rd guy to the party. You see the yellow flag waving there.
That's the bad thing.
I say, is the FIA or the marshals going to look poorly on the fact that multiple cars crashed when there was a yellow out?
Well, Hulkenberg, you can see the yellow flag just happens when he's there, so it's possible he didn't catch it. Colapinto, he was staring at the red flag. He didn't back off. He was still pushing. That's a big no-no. It's a dangerous spot. You never want to see that, so he'll get his finger slapped for that big time.
And Jolien, when you crash out of a race, you're never happy. Nothing's going to make you feel better. But if you're Oscar Piastri, you've come to a stop, you're disappointed with what's happened, you stand up out of your car, you look to your right, and you see 2 other cars in the exact same situation. Does it give some reprieve that, okay, there's clearly something weird here?
Maybe, but I don't really care if Hulkenberg's off and Colapinto's off. I'm the one in the championship chase, and I'm off from P3, and there's a load of guys that aren't off who I'm fighting with for the title. So obviously it does show how difficult the conditions were. You were in the 2003 race, Jack, when loads of cars went off, and were you one of them?
Well, I did Hulkenberg. Jensen had spun, and I spun, missed him, didn't hit anything, carried on. But yeah, that was a few inches away, so embarrassing.
And it shows when there's a lot of people doing the same thing, it shows how difficult the conditions are. I mean, it was obviously different to the 2003 one, but it's the tiny margins. You mentioned someone splashing the water. Lando actually had quite a big kick up of the water as well, but obviously didn't cost him nearly so much. And Oscar will be ruining that.
Yeah, at the end of the day, driver error ultimately. But Lando was lucky to get away with that.
Well, but it was skill, as well. He's choosing. He's not lucky to be placing the car there and get away with it. There's all of these tiny inputs in what he's doing. It is in the end skill. It's tiny margins. It's barely a mistake really from Oscar, but in the end something's caused him to spin, and it's where he is.
Yeah. And another thing is, what do you learn when you're a driver? Don't go on the curves when it's humid. Just avoid them.
Yeah, when you saw the footage afterwards, the camera saw, they sort of pool, the water pools inside the serrated edges there of the curbs. One of the first lessons they do teach you, but these cars have so much grip, sometimes you can get away with it. Mixed fortunes, obviously, for the McLaren drivers. The win for Lando, the DNF for Oscar. Let's hear the thoughts from Andrea Stella, who's with Chris.
Andrea, a win in the sprint with one car, but a DNF for Oscar. So how do you sum up the emotions after that one?
Mixed feelings. Mixed feelings. Well, first of all, let me say the most important feeling is seeing that Gabriel is okay after that crash in these very tricky conditions, and that's important. In terms of the race itself, great result for Lando. We need to look at how we can find more pace, because the Mercedes, they were very close, and definitely Antonelli drove a very strong race, and he was in DRS for a few laps towards the end. But important to gain the points with Lando and some points on Verstappen, and a missed opportunity with Oscar. Conditions are tricky. You put the wheel in a curb, and that's completely unforgiving. There's no way to control the car. It happened to three drivers in the same lap, in the same point. So just unfortunate, but the most reassuring input, if you want, thus far is that Oscar has been fast. So we now look forward. We want to capitalize this speed in qualifying and then in the race tomorrow.
Yeah, as you say, we've seen much better pace from Oscar this weekend than the last two race weekends.
Yes.
But Lando looks like he's got some momentum now in this title fight. So how quickly do you think Oscar will need to reset before qualifying?
He will reset very quickly. I'm sure as soon as he is back with the engineers, and he will be already. He's thinking about what can we do for qualifying, what did we learn from the few laps in the sprint. That's, like racers, they reset, they go again. And you don't have to carry any disappointment, because otherwise you're, just depowering yourself. Here is the moment to be at the best of our abilities. We know that Oscar is very capable, very quick, so we repair the car that has just arrived, and we go again.
And you said that it was close with Antonelli, though. Was this all a bit closer than you expected?
Yeah, in a way, yes. In a way, yes, because we think this track is a circuit in which we should be able to do well. But at the same time, there was a difference of tires, so we will see also what factor was played by the tires themselves. So a few things to review. Let's see from a setup point of view what we have learned from the sprint, and we want to add definitely some performance for the remainder of the race.
All right, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Mixed fortunes for McLaren, mixed fortunes as well for Alpine, but on the good side of that, we have Pierre Gasly, who's joined us now, up into the points in the sprint. Fantastic result from you from 12th on the grid. Just kind of walk us through your race and how you got there.
Yeah, it's been I must say, I'm very happy, even though that 1 point doesn't really change anything for the year we've had and the rest of the season. But it's just been such difficult last few months. No performance, back of the field, and for whatever reason, we have a lot of questions on why the car's been feeling so good since FP1 first lap. Don't really have the answers for now, but we need to find those answers. And yeah, today was very tricky, turn one, quite a lot of chaos. We saw it was important to stay out of trouble and try to be aggressive, because yeah, it's not every weekend that I get a chance to score points, and manage to make it stick.
And I'm sure you're happy that the car felt good right from P1, but is it a little frustrating when the team's not able to identify exactly why and where that speed's coming from? I'm
staying away from the frustration. I've had enough this year, so I'll take anything I can. And I mean, I'm just very happy, because on a season like that, we're not fighting for anything in the championship. We're last, and the guys keep putting their best every weekend, one weekend after another. And yeah, it's proven to be worth it, because today we managed to be in the top 8, and I'm also quite optimistic for the rest of the weekend. Hopefully we can make it again tomorrow.
So in the race, we heard your radio got played out where you said, can the Ferrari get on with it and pass Fernando? You're in a DRS train at that stage, so I guess you want there to be a little bit of a gap, and then eventually managed to pick off Lance.
Yeah, I mean, I was surprised because I could see Charles was so close from Alonso, and I mean, when you're all in DRS, the gaps are very small, so I was always too far. And yeah, this is the one weekend since 4 months I could see the points right in front of me, and I really wanted to make sure that I get a shot. So yeah, my first move was quite optimistic into turn 1, but I absolutely wanted to at least get one try and put some pressure, and I managed to make it stick on the second. But yeah, it's not every day I come up on the radio saying this stuff. I was even surprised myself that the Ferrari were so close ahead of us, but yeah, it felt good.
All right, Pierre, we're going to head into qualifying now in a little bit. You said yesterday that you got held up on your second lap from that yellow for the Ferrari. What do you think the potential is, Q3?
I mean, yeah, exactly. I think that's been feeling good in the car, and there's still a few things to work on in turn 8, turn 9. Like, hopefully we can pick up a bit of performance this afternoon, but yeah, I'm definitely going to try to make it in the top 10 this afternoon.
All right, well, we'll let you get back to work.
Thank you.
Your day's only half done after a fantastic drive there into the points. Now, Jacques, this is a team with Alpine, along with McLaren, that do have a lot of work to do. We're kind of assuming Bortoletto is out for the count in terms of being able to make it for the Grand Prix. But just how stressful is it for these teams that are fighting to get these cars fixed in time for Grand Prix qualifying?
It's tough because now they're driving for pride, mainly, because they won't get anywhere in the championship anyway. Like he said, it's 1 point. It doesn't change anything, really, but there's still a bit of pride. You don't want to finish the season with 0 points. You know, that little dot is not good. Just to have 1 point has shown that he still has that fire in him, that when the car is good, he could be aggressive. We don't see every driver being aggressive, mostly in the sprint race, and he went for it. I think that's good energy for the future.
And for the McLaren team, Piastri going in back first, that's usually worse than going in front first. Maybe a gearbox in play there?
Yeah, they haven't got a lot of time to have a look, but he'll be out for qualifying 100%. It's just making sure that he picks himself back up. You know, it was a mistake. We're not expecting those kind of conditions for qualifying, but he needs to dust himself off, brush himself off, and needs to be straight back on his A game.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. Let's actually hear from the man that went out in turn 3 on lap 6.
Oscar, sorry to see you here at this point. That must be a painful one to take. What happened?
Yeah, just dipped a wheel on the white line of the curb, and yeah, around I went. So yeah, silly mistake really, or unfortunate mistake. So that's it.
Thank you, Oscar.
Yeah, whether or not he can pick himself back up is going to be the big question here in qualifying. And Jacques, he's been closer over a lap to Lando this weekend than over the last few, but we've talked a lot coming into this weekend how this kind of might be a tipping point weekend. Does the momentum keep going in Lando's favor? Can Oscar strike back? What do you think he can do realistically now?
Well, luckily for him, it was sprint, not a lot of points. Had that been the main race, that would have been very, very painful. It was a mistake, but not one where you're on the edge and you lose it. You just drive on the curb when it's wet. You shouldn't do that. He knows it's not a lot of points. What's annoying is that Max wasn't part of the fight, and that's what will be annoying for him. He has, a race and a half or 3 races to pick himself up? I'm sure he will.
But you know what it's like when he seems so downbeat, understandably. We never had it where you had a qualifying and then a race, or a sprint and then a qualifying in the same day. It's very difficult, I think, psychologically to be that downbeat, to be frustrated. You know you've missed 6 pretty easy points there in the end, and then turn it back on to be a tiger and getting every thousandth out of the car to get pole position. So he is a cool customer generally, I would say, Oscar, but he's got to have that mental reset now. The car will be repaired, I'm sure. He's got to have the mental reset to think, forget it now. I need to get back to qualifying here.
And then one thing, sprint is also used as a testing session, and he didn't get the laps in to prepare the rest of his setup for the weekend. That's what will be costly.
And I think if you look back from Mexico 2023 to Italy this year, he's had no DNFs. That was 54 races, including the sprint. And then the last 6 races, Oscar's had 3 DNFs. So what's happening there? You know, it's not been car reliability. Is that just maybe the pressure just eking up because he knows it's crunch time?
And also, Lando's doing a brilliant job.
Yeah.
So when your teammate is doing this well and it's your title rival, you know you need every thousandth. You can't relax with a little lockup or a missed apex. You have to be perfect to get it right, which means that you're more likely to make mistakes. You have to think can I take the curb here? Can I take a risk to stay in touch with these guys? So I think that's where the pressure's coming from the other side of the garage, doing a great job.
So the other side of the Drivers' Championship that we were talking about coming into the weekend was Max Verstappen. He needed to keep finishing in front of the McLarens to realistically stay in it. He's now only 30 behind Oscar, but now 39 behind Lando. Is this kind of the beginning of the end for his drive for 5 wins?
I mean, I wouldn't count it out until it's 100% over. Maybe if we were, you know, a little bit further down the line, then it would be like, yes, it is. But anything's still to play for. Anything can happen. Oscar spinning off. One of the McLarens could do that tomorrow in the Grand Prix. They could have a disaster in qualifying later. So it's getting tougher for him, but Max is not going to give up, and neither Red Bull.
And the probability of a wet race tomorrow, that's chaos. So who knows?
You never know. You never know here in Brazil. Well, while the Constructors' Championship battle is done, McLaren are the title winners there. The battle rages on behind for P2, and after a very strong run for Mercedes in the sprint race, they have overtaken Ferrari for P2 in the Constructors' Championship. Here's what Toto Wolff had to say about their day.
Toto, second and third in the sprint today, and that looked a really encouraging performance from Mercedes.
Yeah, first of all, I'm happy that Gabriel is okay. Was a nasty shunt. Yeah, we had real pace. Probably quickest car today, obviously with the tire advantage towards the end. But happy to see that he was able to stick in Norris's gearbox, continue to put pressure on him, so that's good.
Yeah, how much were you expecting Kimi to go for it in that scenario, or is he maybe looking at the bigger picture with these conditions that it's a risky move?
No, I think he tried to go for it, but you won't, launch like a big lunge to risk breaking your car, and he was clever at that.
Well, we saw that Lando was having to deal with that pressure. McLaren actually said that they were surprised how quick Mercedes were in this sprint race. Were you surprised by how competitive you were?
You never know, what to expect from these races. The cars seem to be oscillating in performance a lot, and in that respect, yeah, that was very good.
And what does it sort of say for your chances going into qualifying and tomorrow's race? We might get some more stable conditions in the race tomorrow, but do you think it bodes well for the Grand Prix?
Yeah, I mean, let's see whether the wind picks up in the afternoon as predicted. That's definitely a factor. I would just need to stay both feet on the ground now. Look what was good on the car, and maybe not tweak it too much for qualifying. Stay ahead and hopefully, be in a good position for tomorrow.
And regardless of what happens in qualifying and tomorrow, just a word on Kimi and his performance so far. What is it that makes him perform so well at sprint weekends? He just seems to hit the ground running.
Yeah, and track that he doesn't know. It's a certain easiness maybe that comes with it. Managing his own expectations because he's very hard on himself. That's certainly a factor.
Yeah, have you seen him stepping forward and improving during the year?
Yeah, he's learning. Don't forget, he's just 19. I mean, literally yesterday, 19, last month. I mean, I was a pretty dumb idiot with no clue of life, very naive at 19, and then you're being parachuted in this environment in Formula One with the pressure, everybody looking on you. He's managing that well, and it needs growth, and that's happening.
Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
You can almost see the fatherly pride in Toto Wolff when Kimi has a good day. Great run for the rookie. And Jacques, I want to come to you on this because as a rookie in Formula One, granted you weren't 19 when you were a rookie, but you came in and nearly won the championship. How do you rate the job that Kimi and frankly the rest of the rookie field's doing this year?
The rookies are doing quite good in general. Something changed a few races ago. It seems to be more focused, and you can see it on the track. But something hard has happened in the last 2 races. If you look at qualifying, he's just on the edge of not making it to Q2 twice by a few hundredths, 16th, 15th. And after that, he wakes up. It's like that little scare of not making it to Q2 makes him go super fast. Then he has an amazing Q2, amazing Q3, and then a great race. But it's really on that cusp every time.
And on the racecraft side, I mean, wheel to wheel with his teammate, really putting the pressure on Lando Norris. That's an impressive thing to be doing at his age in these conditions.
Yeah, much better today. I like the fact that he gets punchy with these guys. We've seen it already with, it was just an accident with Max in Austria. But we saw it as well with Leclerc in Zandvoort. He's not got it right earlier on in the season, but now he's a bit better. He's had that experience, the knowledge, and he's positioned his car so well at the start there, just to usher Oscar towards the white line, but legally. And then to have the braking capacity as well to keep George behind. This is the restart then with Russell coming down the inside. Looked like George was going to be through, but Kimi knows he's on the dry part of the circuit there, so he knows, I'm just going to brake as late as I can, and if you want to stay there, good luck.
Now, lap 1 wasn't completely incident-free. We had that issue with Ollie Behrman and Liam Lawson down into turn 4. You called it in the booth. Maybe racing incident. First, maybe you thought Behrman, then maybe racing incident. Let's take a look at it now. And Alice, tell us what you saw.
Yeah, I think I agree with Jolien, racing incident, because I think Behrman should have he knew he was slow down the straight, and he should have given Lawson a bit more racing room. And it always goes back to, well, who's ahead at the apex, which is why we often see drivers sort of lift off and cruise through, but it wasn't going to fit both of them round there in that proximity. So I agree with Joe in racing incident.
And after something like that, because of the red flag, the sort of reset, Ollie ended up actually P12, recovering right in front of Lawson in P13. That probably made him feel pretty good.
Yeah, I'm sure he was very upset because he felt he had the corner. He was on the outside. He gave enough room on the inside, and Lawson just understeered into him. So I don't agree with both of you on that one. But it's a first lap incident. Normally they're a little bit more clement on that one. And we saw, take Monza, Behrman on the inside, was it of Sainz, got a penalty. And it was a similar situation. So it's.
But in the conditions, though, I think because it's damp, you've got to give a little bit more space than just the racing line, in my opinion. You're taking a risk to turn in.
He couldn't go any wider. He was right on the edge, going to the curb. There was more than a car width on the inside. Lawson had the space to not get on the gas and to give enough space. So,
and obviously Lawson was shoved on the grass a little bit. That definitely would have cooled his tyres down slightly. That's if I was him, that's what we'd say. Right, that's
you're
what
going
you
deep
need to
in
say.
this one.
Cooled his tyres, raised his temperature.
The good news is that we're going to see what the stewards say later on, because they've both got to go and see. So we'll see which side of the coin they land.
Yeah, because that's the other thing. I mean, I think it's almost two separate incidents. The defense of Behrman was maybe a bit on the edge, putting Lawson all the way on the grass. I don't know how you saw that one.
Yeah, it looked it. It's a tough one. Was Lawson heading to the grass because the space was going to shut, so it was optimistic to go for it? Or was he already there and Behrman started closing the space? To be honest, I'd need to see it again from Lawson's onboard to see if it was sort of a foolish attempt or a pretty brutal chop from Behrman. But it just shows that, for me, Ollie knows he's there. He's turned in. He was plumb alongside the inside on the way into the corner. Lawson's not fully locked up. It's lap one. It's tight racing. It's a small contact and then a bigger contact. I think it's unlucky and harsh. But like I said, we'll see what the stewards say.
We'll see what they say indeed. All right, Jack, you have many hats you're wearing. You've got to go
this
weekend.
Guys.
Thank you so much for joining us. Another team that had a strong day yesterday, converted it into a decent result today, is Aston Martin. They have now drawn level with Sauber level with Racing Bulls in the Constructors' Championship after the run from Fernando Alonso in the sprint. Let's hear from him now.
Fernando, you gave it a very good go to keep both Ferraris behind you, just missing out to Charles at the end, but you must be pleased with that showing and the fight that you put up out there.
Yeah, I think so. I think 3 points for us is obviously they are very welcome, and it was a tough morning here. You know, we didn't have things easy from the beginning. You know, our box on the grid, P5 and P7, both Astons were quite wet compared to anyone else. So we lost a little bit of momentum on the start of the first one, and then on the red flag, I think we were on the good tire, the medium. Some people started with a soft, and then after the red flag, we have to choose, you know, what tire to put. Obviously, we don't have unlimited mediums to fit for tomorrow, and we have to switch. So the people starting on the soft went on the medium, and the people starting on the medium like us went on the soft, and I think it was a little bit of a disadvantage.
Interesting that everyone, for the most part, that started on one tire went to the other. Is that kind of a function of wanting to get some information on both heading into tomorrow?
I would say so. Yeah, I would say you always look at McLaren when they made that switch in the red flag, that it was probably going to tail off towards the end. Of course, they didn't expect Mercedes to be as fast, but data gathering, particularly on these sprint weekends with only one free practice, if you get an opportunity like that, that's why they usually take it.
Yeah, why not take it? We heard on the radio that Aston Martin was telling Fernando Alonso to start lifting and coasting as early as lap 15. He was having a good little battle with Max during that restart, but what could be causing a lift and coast call in a sprint race?
I think he's protecting the rear tyres. So I think lift and coast, there's two reasons for it. You're saving fuel or you're looking after your tyres. He was on the softs, and so when you lift and coast, you just don't put the peak energy through the brakes, through the tyres, and it's your most effective way other than backing off in the high speed. So I imagine it's a bit like Lando. We heard him struggling with the rears. If you lift and coast, you take away that peak energy, and you've got to be careful where you do it, because you don't want to be going lifting, coasting, cruising into a corner. You've got a Ferrari right behind you. So he's experienced enough to know when to do it and when not to, but I'm sure it'll be tyre management that he's being advised of.
Yeah, it was a great little battle there, like we were saying, with Max Verstappen, who managed to keep him behind. Didn't quite have the pace to catch the Mercedes and threaten for the podium, but damage limitation going from P6 to P4. Let's hear from Verstappen now.
Max, I know you weren't very happy with the car yesterday. mixed conditions today. Did it feel any better, and at least some important points on the board for you today?
No, it was the same. I think we still maximized the results, so I guess that's positive. But of course, if we want to be more competitive, we need to find something now before qualifying. So we'll have a look what we can do.
Thank you.
Yeah, difficult day for Max Verstappen. Again, he says the car didn't change. Makes sense. Parc Fermé rules. They can't do anything to it overnight, but hopefully some changes that they can make for qualifying.
Yeah, sounds like he'll be making a few changes, won't it? Because he's struggling in that mid-sector. He obviously was purple yesterday in Sector 1 during qualifying. That's just a straight, pretty much. And then turn 1, 2, 3. So they've got to dig deep into the data. We obviously heard from Chris earlier. He was saying that he's not particularly happy with the Mexico floor that they've put on. It's not working here. But Red Bull have said, look, give it to after the sprint race. We'll dive even deeper into the data. We'll try and make some changes, because when it does work, it'll be quick.
They're very good at making changes and finding time, Red Bull. We saw Ferrari do it drastically in Austin, getting a podium in the end from absolute pittance in the sprint. Max as well took a step in the race from the sprint. So I think he could be back in contention. It just depends what everyone else does, but they can certainly find what they've been fixing. They couldn't do that, of course, before the sprint in Parc Fermé rules. That doesn't apply now.
Like you say, Max is always in contention too, isn't he? You can make him a little bit happier in the race car. He can do some great things. We saw off the top of the show that massive accident in turn 1 for Gabriel Bortoleto. We can confirm he's been checked over by the medical staff and released. He is okay. Chris caught up with Jonathan Wheatley as well.
Jonathan, a painful race, that one for Sauber. Both cars having incidents, but let's talk about Gabriel and that huge crash at the end there. Just how is he at the moment?
Yeah, so I've spoken to the medical centre, the manager. At the moment, it sounds like absolutely fine, no injuries at all. I mean, I think I should say, first of all, the incredible work the FIA have done in terms of safety, working with the teams, and you've just seen it today, you know, a crash of that magnitude, and for the driver to be fine to get out, go to the medical centre, and I'm sure he'll be ready for qualifying, just not sure about his car.
Yeah, his car's just come back. I'm sure you've got a lot of work to do looking at that. Have you got any understanding of how that crash came about yet? Have you looked into the details?
No, Chris, a little bit soon. Obviously, we saw it happen, then waited for a replay, but then before you know it, your first thought is to make sure the driver's okay. That's what I focused on, really, after the session, and yeah, I'm sure we'll have a look at it, and look like one of the biggest crashes I've seen for a while, frankly, and I'm just pleased that he was okay, and like I say, the safety standards in Formula One are so impressive.
If I can ask you, what's the likelihood, do you think, of that car being able to be repaired in time for qualifying? It's such a short window, just 3 hours.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know. We haven't established that yet. Obviously, we're just going to build a new car. There's no time to mess around with the one that we have at the moment. I think just keep watching this space.
And we saw Nico as well crashing out earlier on. I know you got that car repaired, but he was running quite competitively. Does it feel like a bit of a missed opportunity so far? Because you've looked quick.
Yeah, I mean, look, we've got Nico ended up having to start from the back of the grid. At least we got the car repaired. We got a bit more information. You know, he did some running, dropped back a little bit at one point. You probably saw, charged the battery, went for a lap. Gives him a bit more knowledge ahead of qualifying. And then with Gabriel, I mean, the main thing is he's okay. But yeah, it was not the sprint that we were hoping for.
We've just heard huge cheers from the crowd as I think Gabriel's come out to give them a bit of a wave. So that's really great to see. But I guess you'd love to get them back out there for qualifying to be able to perform in front of this Interlagos crowd.
Yeah, and I think for him it's a priority to get back in the car and get out there.
We look forward to seeing how you get on with that. Tough luck today.
Thank you.
Never gets any easier seeing those images of that accident, but like you said, incredible safety here in Formula One. Now, from devastation to elation, your sprint winner, Lando Norris, we can hear from him.
Lando, well done. You got the win. Kimi made you work hard for it at the end, but you must be pleased with another well-executed race from your side.
Yeah, for sure. To get the result, of course, I would have liked it to be a bit more straightforward. I think just the conditions and everything made it pretty nasty. Just how wet it was at the hill on the first few laps made it pretty tricky. Like it wasn't flat for the first 2 laps, so not the nicest feeling. And just the fact that the Mercedes were very quick, you know, both Kimi and George, and Kimi kept me under pressure the whole race. So not, I was just expecting us to be a little bit better, honestly. We know that they're fast, especially when it gets a bit cooler and the tyres are a bit harder to get into the good window. Mercedes are very quick. So we'll see what we can do later to try and gain a little bit more lap time.
Thank you.
going to be a tight qualifying session here this afternoon. Let's take a quick look at the schedule so you can get a sense of when everything is happening today and into tomorrow. We have the pre-qualifying show kicking off at 2:30 local, into your GP qualifying at 3. Stick around for the post-race show, post-qualifying show rather. And then on Sunday, of course, pre-race show kicking off at 1 p.m. local time before the Sao Paulo Grand Prix at 2. And we'll have a nice cast with us for the post-race show to dive through everything that happened and what we can only assume is going to be another exciting edition of the race here at Interlagos. All right, guys, we have the sprint in the books, GP qualifying coming up. What are your thoughts on today already and what's coming up this afternoon?
Oscar needs to try and gather himself. Mercedes, I was surprised with their pace. And Lando, he'll be having a very happy lunch.
I imagine he will be having that, but not too happy. They're always stressed in between the sessions, aren't they? I mean, you could be happy for about 10 minutes, but it's right back to work, isn't it?
He barely looked happy as he was walking past us. He's already thinking Mercedes are quick, Oscar's going to be back. And also, let's take a reality check. There's 4 races and 1 sprint left, and the gap at the front of the championship is single digits. You know, this could so easily flip on its head again later today, tomorrow, and the rest of the season. So if you're Lando, you have to keep pressing forward. If you're Oscar, you have to regroup. Who on earth knows if Max can find the pace to get himself in the mix as well?
But I think it's always nice when your teammate is struggling. You do like to see it, whether you're friends with them or not, particularly when you're in a championship battle. And you know, your teammates crash. You've gained more points in the championship. It does fill you with confidence, and we've seen that in the past couple of races. The confidence really does seem to be with Lando, but of course, like Jolien just said, that can turn.
It's a mental game as well. They'll be in the meetings together afterwards, and Lando wants to seem like everything's so easy for him. Nothing's a problem. This is so easy. I'm in my stride, because they're championship rivals. So he wants to make this thing like Oscar's thinking, Lando has got this hooked up. How can I possibly beat him? And all of that's going on behind the scenes.
It's interesting, the mind games that drivers play when they're in the throes of a championship battle. Well, the sprint race is done and dusted. Lando Norris for McLaren, from lights to flag, extends his lead to 9 points in the Drivers' Championship. A Grand Prix qualifying is coming up a little later today, just a few hours' time. Make sure you join us here on F1 TV for that, and thanks so much for watching.
This is Brazil. Welcome to an iconic venue. It is the hottest ticket in town. The grandstands are full. Formula One goes racing in Sao Paulo. They fight corner after corner. It has seen some incredible moments.
Heavy rain now.
Sao Paulo is drenched once again. Drivers living on their instincts. It is all about raw talent. The man on the charge, the championship leader on the attack, 17th on the grid to the win. Oh, yes! A defining drive. The world champion strikes back.